We'll start our driving part with not driving ourselves today, because this is probably the most exciting thing about the all-new Mercedes E-Klasse. This drive pilot that is optional, it's of course built in here as you've seen it, and something I'm doing right now we've just seen in the Tesla Model S so far. Maybe you've checked out that video. And as I said earlier, Mercedes says we have the better system. We will find out right now. I'm doing nothing. Set the Distronic Plus or the drive pilot to 100 kilometers an hour and leave everything to just truck in front of me. Leave my hands off the steering wheel, foot off throttle. So I'm basically doing nothing at the moment. And it's absolutely silent. The dB meter, cameraman is holding, so I can also now check the dB meter. It's showing about 70 dB. Are you kidding me? That's just like normal value we usually score with when we're driving 50 kilometers. So now you heard the acoustic warning. So the Tesla does not do that. Just keeps driving. Here, there are certain parameters where the car decides, no, I don't want to drive autonomous anymore. It could, but it has to do with regulations. Now I realized the car would be braking, I have to take over. So first the acoustic warning. I also see in the head-up display and in the display here saying, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not sure due to what reason. It is said there are certain parameters where the car calculates it, and that's the basic difference. Tesla says, I don't care about the governmental regulations, we just do it. Mercedes a little bit more conservative there and say, we rather want to keep with with the official governmental standards and see later. As long as no one is suing Tesla, and no manufacturer would dare that, because that would be, suing Tesla for something they do which the others can't or don't want to do. I don't know. Might not be good PR-wise. So, but it's really interesting. I'm setting now again to 100 or 90 and starting again. I see it when in the steering wheel, there's a green steering wheel symbol in the front of the display. Then I know it's active and it's working. I'm not sure which parameters it's causing that to skip it, but we see it is basically everything is working, and it could also continue from the technical part, from technology, but somehow the car doesn't want it yet, that it's like going on for hours and hours. We'll test it now again. I'm at 90 kilometers an hour. Oh well, I have to go a little bit. Well, now again I see get the first symbol, do something at the steering wheel. So 85 kilometers an hour. Well, of course, it's very, very relaxing, and the main focus of the system is so far being stuck in traffic, for example, and then also the system won't say, okay, take the steering wheel in your hands again. So for traffic, it's really great. And the funny thing is, we will test it also when we're on the countryside. Therefore, is also one reason Mercedes is saying we have the better system, is that it decelerates and accelerates. The Tesla system keeps the same speed usually when you set the speed, and this one has more comfort than. We'll test that one later. Here again now wants to skip it. Well, the main focus of the system so far is that you can more relax, rely on the car, have an additional safety feature. For example, I'm just testing it now with hands off, as I'm doing it right now. I have set the drive pilot, but keeping my hands on the steering wheel. And then I can relax, but just I'm not actively doing something with my hands. I just leave them on. And then the car also won't complain. And yeah, maybe it's also not bad to have this as a first step. For example, now you see I'm not doing it with my hands. Just leave them We're in a construction site here now, and the lane is kept. And well, it's maybe a good thing, because at Mercedes at least, you're still self-responsible for what you're doing, also in the autonomous mode. Volvo has another plan saying, when our vehicle is in fully autonomous mode in the future, we will take responsibility for accidents. That is really a game changer. And if then all the different manufacturers will have different systems for that or regulations, Volvo will prevail when they say that, of course, because then I'm buying a Volvo. If they are, if I'm not responsible, then it's a sure decision. But the system is really impressive here, definitely, and I can show you also why it's very impressive. Because you see, I could just hit the throttle and then accelerate on my own again, and set it Distronic again, and so I can have a smooth transition between the fully autonomous mode and driving myself, and that's also a very good thing. What is also included in this Drive Pilot is switching lanes autonomously. And I could keep my hands on the steering wheel for that again, and then also the car will never complain. But for demonstration purposes, that you see that it really works, I'm also taking my hands off the steering wheel again. And again, a lot of parameters are calculated if it's possible. At the moment, for example, let's see, there's another car approaching. You shouldn't do it now. See? It says, no, I won't do that. But now also the autonomous drive stopped and had to take over again. The reason was another car was coming from behind. Setting the autonomous drive again in. Now it should be freeway. Let's see. Yeah, it's working. So I'm just setting the turning indicator back now. I can also increase the speed here. So that was an autonomous lane change. Very well executed. So technology-wise, again, very impressive, well done, and relaxing to know that the vehicle is really capable of that one. In combination here with the adaptive suspension, which is here optionally also the air suspension, this is just such a smooth ride. This could, for example, also be a solution. As soon as I see, okay, he's complaining, just take one hand, or I just leave one hand on the steering wheel, so I can relax and maybe you also keep more awake when using the autonomous drive, because you don't need to focus that much, because focusing very hard, that can make you very tired as well. For example, now I could drive faster here, especially with this car. This car is capable of so much more. We'll soon show you that as well. But the very great sound insulation, the relaxing ride with the air suspension and the autonomous driving mode, this everything in combination, it doesn't make me feel I want to go that fast. I just want to, relax and enjoy that it's so silent here and so relaxing. Now I've set it to 140, and the interesting thing about this Drive Pilot is as well, it works almost until unlimited speed. It's like 210 kilometers an hour. What? And the lane change is supposed to work now, just ask, it's about 180 kilometers, so it will always work when the certain perimeter, when no one is coming from behind and stuff. So I've set it to 140 kilometers an hour now, speed-wise. The car is driving itself again. I'm doing nothing with my feet, also nothing with my head. I just leave one hand on the steering wheel. The car doesn't complain, but you see it's also possible that way. Now it gets exciting again, because the motorway, German Autobahn, the episode today, of course. See now, it's keeping the lane, although the motorway makes a small turn, but again complaining. So you see, the system is capable of so much more, but now he wants both hands. Both hands required. So you're always in communication a little bit with the car. So the system is really working flawless here, especially here on the motorway. I'm looking forward how it will be on the countryside. But here always really impressive. But other than the Tesla one, this is one set that you keep the hands on the steering wheel again. You might argue pro or contra. I think it's basically good to have this transition as well. We're going to talk about that one as well. Because you have to get used to autonomous driving, and it's maybe good that you have the hands on the steering wheel, that you can react at some point, maybe better. And I don't know, maybe when more cars drive autonomously, maybe they at some point release a software update where you can also take the hands off, maybe. But it's really a step in the right direction. And although I'm a car driver who likes to drive cars, there are always situations in everyday driving where you say, okay, that's no fun in driving. For example, being stuck in traffic or running 2 hours on the motorway at a constant speed. then this autonomous drive is really a very useful thing. Or for example, I need to change something in the GPS, then I have the time and possibility and the safety, otherwise I would have to check the car in front of me, everything, Here I can really take some time and say, okay, where I'm going, I have to set something, because all of the multimedia system, they're really distracting a lot of times, and that is one solution. As the car media evolves more and more, that you can also just focus on something else. Again here, or for example, changing the temperature, making it a little bit warmer here. Oh, thank you. Then you see sometimes the car complains. It's almost like really that the car's a little bit alive and talking to you. So that was autonomous part on the motorway. Let's now go to the non-autonomous part. So I've cancelled it right now. The 9G Tronic converter automatic transmission doing a flawless job. You almost don't realize it's shifting at all. Then the 220D, the diesel, you don't feel it's a diesel, especially on the motorway. So to refine a silent engine, incredible. And then again,
exit to the right.
Yes, and we soon to go to the countryside part then. That's the sound system. Going back to the dB meter, because I've just covered it in a very short period, there was 70 dB at 100 kilometers an hour. We usually have 70 dB when we're driving 50 kilometers an hour with another vehicle. So this sound installation here sets new standards, probably the best car ever as for the sound installation we have tested so far. And you do realize it when you're going here with 150 kilometers on the motorway, it's like, what? Nothing is happening. It's totally incredible. The steering wheel is reacting very softly, but still in a natural way to all of the driving commands, definitely. Now we're going off the motorway, get out to our next driving part. We'll also give you a performance of this diesel here, just over 7 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, or 0 to 60 or 0 to 62 miles an hour. So we're going left on the when you go off the motorway here, maybe even turn down the vents a little bit. Now a huge truck is passing us and it's so incredible silent. When we are standing still, let's see what the dB meter says. When we're standing still, 45 dB when we're standing still. Wow. But even more impressive what this 70 dB when we're driving faster. Really incredible stuff. Even when I'm talking, it's about 60 to. So when I'm talking, the car is as loud as it is driving at 150 kilometers an hour. Really incredible as for this point. Now it's getting a little bit more silent on the road here again. I just want to shut my voice sometimes when they're in this car, and then just there's nothing. Wow. And we still have the panoramic roof here. So panoramic roof sometimes also creates some wind noises, but here also nothing is happening. So next, the driving part right here. Setting to 70 kilometers an hour. And also autonomous driving is possible again. Green steering wheel symbol. Just don't want to damage the alloys. So let's see when the car is complaining here. Again, as I said, the system is oriented that you keep the hands on the steering wheel, but now for demonstration purpose that you really see that's not fake, definitely. It's keeping the lane really totally perfect. Like the same distance on the left and on the right. Wow. And well, what is the difference between the Tesla system and this one here? The Tesla was also very impressive and had the advantage that you don't have this. Oh, let's see, does the car brake from itself now? Yes, smoothly. So I was just keeping my foot over the brake Because you never know. Maybe now as a driver myself, I would have initiated the braking process a little bit earlier to have, especially also for the co-driver, a smoother approach. But we also know that just from normal ACCs, adaptive cruise controls, this was a very smooth braking process still came to a standstill. Also, let's see when the traffic light turns to green now, what's then happening if the car is just starting itself, if I maybe have to step on the throttle just a little bit, or maybe have to get to the Distronic Plus lever. Let's see. Yeah, Distronic Plus lever, maybe. Throttle. Yeah, just one step on the throttle, that's it, kind of then. So it was not starting automatically again. Maybe that would have been the case if we were in a traffic jam. That would have maybe worked. So you see, there are sometimes situations where I need to change the lane in a very short period of time. Then I take over myself. That's better. Also, overtaking is only reserved for the motorway, this overtaking function. But other than that, it's really relaxing. And now I'm just having the autonomous mode again, keeping 2 hands at the steering wheel. And I can, for doing reviews, it's also good because I can more concentrate to talk to you. See, now I had to react because the car didn't know left, straight. This is also one major difference to the Tesla autonomous drive. In the Tesla, if you combine it with the GPS, set a route, a destination, then the GPS gives direct input to the autonomous driving mode and says, okay, I need to turn there or there. That's not happening here. The drive pilot gets information from the GPS to differentiate some stuff and do this computer decisions. But it's not that this direct link as in the Tesla that it's really siding with the road. That is maybe one thing where Tesla is leading in that way. Really a main aspect, definitely. That might be a reason why people would rather go for the Tesla autopilot. But the other situations, I see that this pilot is working. When it's working smoother. You feel more relaxed and a little bit more refined. So both systems have their pros and cons. I think the combination of those two systems would be now the perfect autonomous drive. I don't know, maybe Mercedes and Tesla engineers try to combine that then. What about the performance of this diesel? Let's maybe drop a little bit in speed, and for example, let's do 60 to 80. That would be possible. Let's do it right now. That's it, 86 even. Okay, now it's allowed to drive 100. We can now, for example, also do 70 to 100 kilometers. Let's go right now. That's it. So, reasonable, definitely. And also you heard the diesel was screaming a little bit more, but considering it's a small diesel, the noise volume was still relatively low. Not relatively, it was very low, definitely. And this is totally enough for the car. So it's not like you have this huge, great, evolved luxury E-Class, upper mid-size, and you need a big V6 stuff. No, it's not needed. This car is for a relaxed drive. And this 220D is way enough for, 7.4 seconds from 0 to 1 kilometers an hour or 0 to 62 miles an hour. That's totally enough, really totally enough. And I was critical myself if this 220D is enough for that vehicle, if it's a suitable engine, but it's really working. If you still believe in diesel. I must admit, I personally don't believe in the future of diesel engines. That's my personal opinion so far. Maybe also my professional opinion. We can discuss it maybe also in a separate video or in a live stream. That would be a good idea. But if you take the diesel or just want to go for a small engine in general, because the car also stays cheaper, of course. You can also go for the entry petrol engine version. That would be my choice so far. I'm just not sure yet if I would really rely on this autonomous drive. It's a cool system. I'm not sure how much I would use it in everyday driving. Yeah, probably if you have it, you will use it even more. Even if you're a car driver yourself, there will be more and more situations where you appreciate to use it. I'm quite sure of that, definitely. Then again, the question is, how much over-engineered do you want to have the car? That's also depending on that. So now it's traffic. It's not traffic on the motorway, but inside the city. Let's set the autonomous drive again. You see another situation. I could just continue driving myself now, but it's not exciting. Not for you, not for me. If I would just like stuck in traffic here in city traffic. And let's see how the car reacts in here in the traffic situation. And you see it's relaxing already here again now. Should you go for the air suspension? Well, the standard suspension of this car is already very good. No doubt about that. And it's already adaptive from the standard equipment. Air suspension is, of course, another different feeling of ride. It's really like flying on the road, very smooth. If you're going faster, it stiffens up a little bit, so it's not that you lose your sporty ride, but it's really the best for comfort. So if you're really keen on a high comfort, then maybe the air suspension is one of the features you should go. I usually tend to say don't buy the car in the highest specs. As I said earlier, this one here costs double the standard price. I mean, come on. Why buying an E-Klasse for 80 or 90,000 euros? Doesn't make sense to me. I usually pick the standard car and then maybe pick a nice package for me or just the extras I have, and also not the biggest engine, because the highest price point with the car is always the engine. At least at the moment. Will change in the future. More in the future, it will be more like which apps are you using? That will be high cost points. But so far, I mean, you will also be fine if you don't have this super high spec car here. If you just go for the standard one, definitely. And this being very silent is also good when stuck here in the traffic, because it really makes you calm and relaxed. So I think here it's taking still quite a while due to the traffic light. We'll have a short break for you, then we ride back with some countryside riding for you. So now we're in a tunnel, and I want to show you how the instruments look like in the dark. Really cool effect, definitely. And some more city and countryside riding. And the interesting part is, let's see. If you're not, you see when some, that's the connection with the GPS that is not happening. Then this system is not really realizing it. So it will still remain a combination between manual and autonomous driving. But what is really good, I realized now, when you, for example, change from countryside to city and back again and have the autonomous drive activated, also the speedometer changes automatically. Let's say we're on the countryside, and Germany, it's, for example, quite often 70 kilometers an hour. And I have set it to 70 kilometers an hour, the Distronic or the Drive Pilot. And then we're entering a city where in Germany is maximum 50 kilometers an hour, usually, unless it's even more restricted. Then also I've seen that in the head-up display, the speed is regulated down to 50 kilometers an hour. And that we've, for example, also experienced that in the Audi Q7, for example. That system will prevent speeding tickets. So if you're doing that with the Drive Pilot here or with the systems, you can also get it without the autonomous drive. Then it's really very hard to get a speeding ticket. Let's now see, it's always a calculation between GPS data and the camera seeing the traffic. And now it's 30 kilometers an hour. Let's see if it's dropping down. Yes, went from 50 to 30, not braking the car, just seeing it. Now 30 kilometers an hour. So, and now again, 50 again, let's see. Yes, 50. See, car is accelerating. Very well done. Very well executed. It takes a little bit speed away in the corners. That's also a nice system. Again, just steering, not taking everything with my foot. You see, this driving part is really a lot about autonomous driving, because The E-Classe is the first time that Mercedes introduced so many of those new technologies in the car. 70 kilometers now. That's it. Seeing it in head-up display. Car is accelerating. You can also take my hand off steering wheel at, just for display purposes again. See also on this countryside road, the lane is kept mainly. Well, sometimes you do not trust the car 100%. That's still. You see, motorway is, let's say, more flawlessly, definitely. Here on city countryside roads, you more often, I'm not sure if you really would have to, but at least you get the feeling that you have to intervene. So far, being on the motorway, even with changing lanes, perfect. Here, rather I would drive myself, I think. So, I think we have talked a lot about the autonomous drive now. Let's now more even focus on driving ourselves, because I could very well imagine going for the E-Klasse as a driver's car, maybe then also just with the analog instruments with definitely less extras. And that will be about here. That's by the way the front warning, as I was very close to another vehicle here. So although we're in a top luxury sedan, the steering is still quite sporty. It is not as progressive as we know it from other manufacturers. That means you need some more steering angle. That's usual with kind of all Mercedes models. I prefer it if there would be a little bit more input to my steering, but maybe that's also just a personal thing. In general, still you have a very natural feeling when steering, and I'm just amazed by this. I think I have to go here, sorry. But you see, even that 4 meters 92 in length, but a fast reaction, as I see here, we had to go somewhere else, and still the car was very easy to react. Feels like you were driving a smaller car, definitely. I love that riding the air suspension is just so smooth. All of the small bumps on the road are evened out totally. That's really great. But again, if you don't want to spend so much money and go for a rather basic E-Classe, you won't be disappointed either. I'm quite sure of that. You can also go some slalom ways. This is of course a totally smooth slalom due to the air suspension again. And now we're getting outside the city. We can drive a little bit faster again and show you more of that performance. When I'm really hitting the throttle, 1 gear shift back, but I can also do it in advance. For example, when I use the pedals here, shifting a gear back, for example, now the 4th gear, and then have the more immediate acceleration. I can hold the shifting pedal again, and then moving back to the automatic shifting. It's also fun to drive the car no matter what, although the focus is definitely more on that rather relaxing ride. You can also have a sporty driving fun with that one. There's also driving modes available with Sport mode, Comfort, Eco and Sport Plus, and Individual, where you set individual commands. Now I'm in Eco mode, that stresses the sailing or coasting functions. The throttle input is drawn back. I have to put the throttle more, so I save some fuel when I'm not hitting the throttle that hard usually. And when I lift the throttle, the car is rolling as long as possible. Of course, not rolling uphill. Then Comfort mode was where we usually were in. Then Sport mode. 1 gear shift down. 3rd gear now. We are now 4th again. The gears are turned up higher, get higher RPMs, more input. Is the steering wheel also changing? Sport mode. Oh yes, Comfort mode is very soft. Going to the Sport mode, the steering wheel is stiffer. So if you prefer that one, also possible. Better throttle input. The car has already shifted down, doesn't have to do that. And there's also the Sport Plus mode, where the electronic stability control is drawn a little bit back and you have better manual control of the car. That doesn't mean the car will slide out totally, but you shouldn't maybe use it in the most slippery conditions. With Sport Plus mode, I can now, when I have some curvy roads here, accelerate out of the corner better. Then what we also just felt, the automatic transmission, it's not hiding the shifting process, like smooth transmission. Here again now, the difference is it's really more hammering it in, that I feel that the car is doing a gear shift. What you expect as, a sportier oriented driver, definitely. Also direct more resistance from the steering wheel, definitely. Nice, so you can also vary it even here with the small diesel. Of course, we don't have a great sound coming from the engine, but again, for most purposes of this car, it also won't be really necessary. So a luxury sedan can also do some good here in the serpentine corners. Yeah, maybe just the sound is missing, that's it. But also, you don't feel uncomfortable due to the air suspension. Some cars you may think, oh, they are maybe tilting too much, but that's not happening here because it's also adaptive. Car realizes when I'm in a faster corner, it needs to stiffen the suspension a little bit. They get enough feedback from the road. Oh, there was a Mercedes camo car. Which was it? Should be someone of those we have covered recently. If you go to the Autogefühl channel, just bookmark it always with autogefühl.com. There we will always find our playlist with the full reviews, of course, and also our Spy or Camo Car playlist where we show you the latest Camo cars. You will know then what comes on the market before everyone else knows. So also a fun riding experience, of course, if you're really totally convinced sport driver. That's not the right car for you. Maybe at some point the AMG versions, but in general, if you more prefer that sporty riding, then go for a class below, for a C-Class with maybe an AMG package C455. That will be the perfect car for you then. But it's not uncomfortable to go through the Alps and hunt these roads here. Maybe we can overtake someone here then. This Opel or Vauxhall in front of us. But of course, safety first at Autogefühl. So, take it down. So we're going left now. Oh, even the shifting down you hear very well done. Now acceleration again. Oh, there's another Mercedes camo car. Let's wait for that one. You will soon see it in the camera. Looks like E-Klasse as well. Yeah, that might be camo car from E-Klasse Coupe. Yeah, nice acceleration. We can show you from 0 to 70 again. Let's see, wheel stopping. And now from standstill, 0 to 70. Go. That's it. Very well performed, definitely. And you see, as I was in the sport mode, you heard the shifting process, and also the car didn't wait to shift down before. Well, what about the consumption? It's hard to say now, of course, as we did those acceleration tests. That will be rather something we have to clarify at a later stage. But good to have a general overview as always. If you look at the official figures of that car and then just add 2 liters per 100 kilometers, then it usually will work as for that one. So unlimited speed here now, 100. Yeah, it's a really convincing car as for the driving experience in almost every respect. There's no doubt about it. It's really a great car they've built here. Just have to watch out it doesn't get too expensive also from the driving features. So let's see, autonomous driving again, maybe a faster. When there's crossing traffic, I'm always paying more attention. Let's see here, keeping the lane. You see here on the countryside road, it's going a little bit to the other side. So it's not perfect, not keeping the very lane, that would have been good if I would have some cross traffic. So again, motorway perfect. Other thing than that, maybe leave it with driving on our own. And as we are here on that beautiful countryside road, I just deactivated, pressed the lever in the front. I also enjoy driving on my own, of course, and that's maybe the compromise we're heading now for these different driving modes. High speed slalom test here now, good reaction. Although we have the air suspension, not too much of a car tilting. You have very good control of the car, no doubt. And it is a quite overwhelming car, especially with digital instruments, but as the driving characteristics and the agility is still very good for such a car. You remember they've said about 100 kilograms of weight as well for this new generation. You feel more comfortable as long as you drive the car, and then also this overwhelming feeling fades a little bit and you feel just good, just okay with the car. And you know, if you just go for a lower spec car, this will even work faster, this getting used to it process. I'm going back to the comfort driving mode because usually you will just leave it in the comfort mode. I always see in the display this nice visualization, of course. It's something, you know, if you like those multimedia stuff in the car, then it's a great car for you, definitely. I wouldn't need it really, but it's always nice to look at it. So we've covered a lot of aspects here. I want to hear your feedback, of course, to our different driving aspects and what you think about autonomous driving in general, and of course about this very Drive Pilot here with the autonomous drive. And also check out our Tesla Model S video where we have extensively tested the autopilot there again, and then also draw some comparison. There will be a lot to talk about in the future, of course, but this one here is definitely a car that gets the whole brand further. We realize that now while driving, especially.